Music, TV, and streaming shows, to fashion, social media influencers, and the latest on who is seeing who. Join host Elizabeth Stanton as she digs deep and dives in. This is Popstar Today.
Tune into Coffee with America and start your day in the right direction, where we go over the latest and greatest in health, lifestyle, entertainment, and more. Start your day off on Coffee with America.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning into your Sunday edition of GMV Express. Today is April 28th. I'm one of your in-studio hosts, Maddie Evans, and we've got a great show in store for you. A lot taking place. We're going to cover many different topics. Not only are we going to be talking about maybe a career search that you are on right now, we're also going to be talking about some great event planning, and then we're going to chat with local legend paleontologist Billy Doran at the Dinosaur Museum. If you've yet to explore that here in our community, well, we're going to tell you why you want to make your way over there, and especially if you've got those kiddos at home. GMV Express starts right now.
Get up, get ready to start your day. The mountains are calling you out to play. Come on, we'll make you feel right at home. Good morning, Vail. See what lies in store for you. There's so many things to see and do. Summer, winter, spring, or fall. Your home in the Rockies has it all. So get up, get ready to start your day. The coffee's brewing, you're on your way. The fun is waiting outside your door. Good morning, Vail. Good morning, Vail.
Hey, it's your boy, Nephew Tommy, your host for an all-new season of Black College Quiz, where the nation's best and brightest display their knowledge of Black history and culture while competing for prizes and scholarships. So get ready to see HBCU Nation take the academic field. Black College Quiz! BCQ! Black College Quiz! BCQ! Black College Quiz! BCQ! Yeah, man.
Hi, it's Julio from TV8 Vail. Do you ever wonder why our tagline is "There's more for you" on 92? Because we're always bringing you more. More Good Morning Vail from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. all year long. More local coverage with Vail Vibes and Covered Bridge on TV8. More opportunities to participate with new roundtable panels on Mountain Perspectives. And our expanded Spanish programming block. Find us on Comcast Xfinity Channel 92, on YouTube, or our website, tv8vail.com.
Welcome to Hiring America, the television program that helps veterans find jobs and transition back into civilian life. Hi everyone, I'm Gigi Stone Woods. I'm truly honored to host this vital program. Reach out to the opportunities you see on this program by logging on to our website, hiringamerica.net, and by following us on social networking sites such as Twitter. We'll keep that information available throughout the broadcast and on our website 24/7. Now, let's get down to business.
Good morning, Vail.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to be talking about some things that you can do to help Mother Nature. Now, we just celebrated Earth Day, so it's important that you keep these in mind. We're going to introduce you to the Critical Root Zone podcast right now.
Now, welcome back to the show. Our next guest is a very near and dear friend of mine and is passionate about serving our environment and just really educating people on how they can make the least amount of negative impact and the biggest amount of positive impact. Joining me today is Maris Macelis. Maris, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. This is so awesome. It's great to see you.
Great to see you. No, I love that we've come so far in our friendship where we met each other through a kickboxing gym in Nashville, Tennessee. And now here we are talking about things that are even bigger picture, more important than, or not more important than talking about our environment. So you are a podcast host, you're an environmental activist. There's so many positive things about who you are, Maris. So tell us a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been a passion of mine for a really long time, probably since I was a little girl. My mom taught me to care about the planet and the environment. And it's really seeped into every crevice of my life. And it started to bloom over and over again as I surrounded myself with more people that had this love and passion for taking care of the planet and really taking care of each other. And that's kind of like what led me to the work I do today. The podcast Critical Root Zone is my own baby. It's intentionally supposed to make you think a little bit deeper, hence the name Critical Root Zone. Mm-hmm. And my day job is with a nonprofit called Tennessee Environmental Council. So I'm here in Nashville still, and we're doing a lot of field work, boots on the ground, planting trees, creating pollinator habitat, and recycling roundups. But there's still this very important connection that we have to have with each other and ourselves in order to do that work. And that's kind of what my podcast is about.
Well, I think you just permeate the community with positivity and all of the work that you do, between being a Lululemon ambassador and teaching kickboxing and just really encouraging the people around you. Every conversation that you have is very meaningful. So talk about Critical Root Zone podcast. How did it get started? What conversations do you discuss? Tell me more.
Thank you. Critical Root Zone is actually my second podcast. The first one was called Zero Waste Trash Talk, which was a group of friends and I that wanted to put more information out into the community about recycling or questions that we had about different things going on that in the community that was confusing. A lot of it revolved around zero waste, hence the name Zero Waste Trash Talk. And it evolved into this community driven, we had 2 or 3 events in town where people showed up and we had different community members and leaders speak on things and different organizations speak on what they did. And that's kind of what led me to get into my own podcast later in a couple of years later after the pandemic hit. And we had all of these really kind of challenging parts of life, right? Where everyone had to stop and really think about, what am I doing here? What is my purpose, right? And I thought, well, the podcast was really important to me. Unfortunately, my friends decided not to continue, and Critical Root Zone was born. Critical Root Zone is about getting to the root issues of what we know to be true, right? So there's all of these things that we can do to better the planet, to, see the things happening around us and these impacts that we can make, yet there are things that are systematically rooted in our lives around us that kind of prevent us from creating that systematic change, right? We can have cleanups and we can recycle things, but what about the front end of that? And how does that all reflect into us and our lives? So this podcast, there's a lot of different topics because sustainability, and we use this big grand word, sustainability, it just means caring about sustaining life, regenerating life, the circle of life. And my podcast is really about different stories with people that are doing the work, not only for them, for the planet and for the people around them, but for themselves, thinking about how does this affect me and what the things that I do in my life, and how does it vibrate outside of myself into the community and into the world? So my tagline is, in order to love the planet, we have to love each other. And in order to love each other, we first have to love ourselves.
Oh, wow. That just gave me chills, and that's so true. I think you're exactly right. You bring up kind of a thoughtful conversation on your podcast, and it's around all different things. What are things that we can do better for ourselves mentally? What can we do better to impact our community? So I love this. So Maris, tell us, what kind of guests have you had on the podcast? What can we look forward to as we continue to listen and tune in?
Absolutely. The last guest I had was actually this very interesting conversation about aquaponic cannabis farming. And
fun.
it was it is so different and so groundbreaking and so beautiful because they have this very sustainable or regenerative process, and they also care about their people in such a regenerative way, where that's really the meat of my podcast. Funny for me to say meat because I don't eat meat, right? I don't want to, what can I say?
The bones of it, the framework.
The green juice of my podcast.
There you go.
You can look forward to a couple different people I just interviewed that are doing wonderful work with the unhoused here in Nashville. People that are looking into the food systems from Feedback Nashville. I have a guest from the the Nashville Food Project, which they have community gardens and they teach people how to grow food, and they're actually doing a big study right now on the access to this food in the city, which is really important for systematic change. And then another guest I have on is the CEO of the Harpeth Conservancy that do a lot of work with the wetlands or any body of water in Tennessee, which is so important because we use that for our drinking water. And with regulations going on with the EPA, they kind of lessened the protection around our wetlands. And so we learn a lot about politics with them and the science that they do, the data proven that they've done to make sure that they can go to the front lines in our legislature and fight for our wetlands. So there's a lot of good stuff coming to look out for. Critical Root Zone. You can watch it on YouTube. It's on all platforms, but the major ones, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you'll see it there. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun, and it's been truly an honor to just get to speak with any of these people.
I love all the conversations that you're having, and these are all topics that can really be translated across the U.S. as well. So exciting stuff. And then your Instagram, you give a lot of tips and tricks on your Instagram, plus all of the fun things that you do in your life. Where can we go to follow you along on social media?
Absolutely. So the podcast is at Critical Root Zone, and from there, you'll find my personal at the Maris Vibes with a Z. You'll find it from there. Thing is, I like to get down and dirty with people. It's not always about step 1, 2, and 3. It's about just getting deep. It's about being real and transparent and showing people that it's kind of challenging to be sustainable in the environment that we've created with all these technological advances that make life easier and convenient. It's tough to go back to this primitive side that we all came from. So it's just nice. It's raw. It's down to earth. And I just try to connect with people as best as I can.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you what, I certainly have enjoyed having you in my life. So it's a lot of fun to have you on this show as well, and to talk all about the things that you're doing to make some change and to create some thought change as well. We appreciate it.
So much. It's great to see you, Kim.
Awesome.
Thank you for what you do too.
Absolutely. Well, Maris, thanks for joining. We'll be right back with more on the show after this.
Good morning, Vail.
Each week on The Tech Show, you can look forward to the latest in technology and how you can use it too. We'll also chat with leading experts, and you'll find out if the latest gadget will take my money or not. Don't miss The Tech Show. Tech your local listings.
Next up, we've got a special duo from two of the best voices in the bluegrass and country genres.
We know you're going to love this one from Melanie Cannon and Willie Nelson. Here's Back to Earth.
The songs are
friend.
My name is Tyler Alvarez. I work here at Sweet Basil in Vail. I'm a bartender here. I originally came to Vail to snowboard. I slept on my sister and my cousin's couch for what was supposed to be a week, turned into 2 months, and then I found my own spot, and then kind of made friends and worked different places in the valley and kind of just fell in love with it more and more every single day, and ended up finding my way to Sweet Basil through some friends who had worked here and all the great things that I heard about it. And yeah, I've been here for 4 years now. It's hard to wake up in Vail and be upset when you look outside. It's just beautiful. My favorite part about working at Sweet Basil is definitely that I could be proud about everything that we're putting out, whether it's food, drinks. We also get to be really creative here. The bartenders, the whole team here, we workshop our menus every season, so we'll start with a spirit or an ingredient, and then we get to be really creative and make a whole project of it. And then when we get the final product, it's a drink that we're all really proud of for the whole menu, and that's super fun, just being able to be creative and work with new things. And the most fun cocktails to make, though, are definitely the ones that we get to create from scratch. When people take a sip and say, oh my God, this is delicious, or they just love it. And that's probably the most fun for me, the creativity behind it and making unique cocktails. That, for me, that would be the most fun drink to make, just the one that you start from scratch and then people are excited about. I'm Tyler, I live and work in Vail. Come see me at Sweet Basil.
Good morning, Vail.
Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down and chat, or walk around rather, the Dinosaur Museum with local paleontologist Billy Doran. Now, if you have yet to see this incredible exhibit, you're going to want to put it on your calendars and make a day out of it. Let's take a look at what they have to offer. We are standing here with local legend and local paleontologist Billy Doran with the Dinosaur Museum.
The museum at Dinosaur Junction.
See, I knew it was something great, though.
You were practically there, Maddie. You're practically there.
I was so close. But you gave me a small little tour before the interview started. Now, this is one of these hidden gems in our community. This is a nonprofit that really was brought by Eagle County and you collaborating together.
Yes, it was. It was kind of one of those situations where Mother Nature said, oh, you want to find some cool fossils? Well, there you go. Now you got to do something with it all. So that's where the museum came from. We call it the Museum at Dinosaur Junction because most of the stuff that we found in this area is from an area down the road. I can't say exactly where it is, but we've coined it, we've nicknamed it Dinosaur Junction over the years because there's so much stuff there. And it's not just a couple dinosaurs, it's stuff that spans about 170 million years of the dinosaur time, and we found upwards of 10 to 12 different stuff in that area. So that's why we call it the Museum at Dinosaur Junction. But as you mentioned, we are a nonprofit. It's very much focused on Eagle County. In fact, as we walk around, I can tell you right now about 80% of what's in here, so almost everything I have found in this immediate area in Eagle County. So it's a real kind of cool peek back into the ancient prehistoric time of Eagle County.
I was just going to say, not only are we taking a look back in history that everyone knows and loves because dinosaurs are kind of the coolest thing ever.
They're pretty wild.
I mean, it's spectacular to be in here.
It's funny because a lot of parents will ask me, because every kid, and every parent out there knows, every kid is obsessed with dinosaurs at some point.
Yes.
And they're like, why is that? And I think, and this goes with adults as well, dinosaurs are that bridge between fantasy and reality.
Yes.
I mean, if you were to try to describe someone a Tyrannosaurus Rex, an animal that was 40 feet long and weighed upwards of 25 to 30,000 pounds that could eat an elephant, that's something out of a horror movie. Yeah. But that animal lived here. It lived here in Colorado, you know? So I think it's that fascination for things that seem so fantasy and seem so unreal, but yet, as you said, they were here. They were stomping around.
Which then you get a rich part of our history as a community since you did find them here. So as we're kind of hyping this up and people are getting excited about the dinosaurs and what you found here in Eagle County, why don't we take a nice little tour?
Let's take a look. We'll come down this way. The museum's set up pretty easily. It's very elementary. There's basically 3 periods of the dinosaurs that they existed. The beginning is the Triassic time, when dinosaurs first show up on Earth and in Colorado, and that's about 230 million years ago. At the same time, crocodiles first show up. Wow. So crocodiles and dinosaurs live side by side. They're not the same animal, but they were here in Colorado. In fact, I found found fossils from massive crocodiles here in Eagle County. So yeah, we had some huge crocs walking around. But the Triassic time, this kind of shows you a little bit. One thing that did not exist for most of the time of the dinosaurs, Maddie, is where we live and celebrate, and that's the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
They were not here. There would have been some little hills, some small little uplifts here and there, but basically Colorado for the majority of the Triassic time would have been very much like the Sahara Desert. Rolling sand dunes as far as we can see, fairly arid and dry. There was some water moving around. Animals are relatively small. This is also a time when Earth is looking pretty unique because we don't have all the different continents.
Right.
We don't have North America, South America, Australia, Africa, Europe, etc. It's one supercontinent called Pangaea. And of course, things that are big, in order for them to turn into pieces, they have to break apart. Only
Right.
the Earth breaking apart is not something you want to be involved in. So, needless to say, about 200 million years ago, when the Triassic period, chapter 1, kind of comes to a close, that's because Pangaea starts to rip apart. And almost, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% of every living thing on Earth dies.
Wow.
Not just the new dinosaurs and crocodiles, but animals in the oceans, plants, insects, insects which make up a massive population of the Earth. That many things pass away. They just get annihilated when that happens. But that also allows us a time for renewal and change. And we go from the Triassic to the Jurassic. Now, of course, everyone knows that name from the movies, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. This is probably one of my favorite time periods, Maddie, because this is when dinosaurs get gigantic. It's the Jurassic time, which was about 200 million years ago to about 145 million years ago, and this is when they get truly massive. They become the largest things to ever walk the planet. They literally take over everywhere. They're living all over the different continents, that as the continents are slowly, the very, very brand new continents, as they're making their way across the Earth, these guys are proliferating and they're living in every possible spot.
And they're evolving.
They're evolving
constant
quick.
evolution,
yes. This is also a time where that evolution really kicks in high gear and they start to take over everywhere, and we get all the, not so much these, including these massive giant long necks, but we get the things that have huge mouths full of massive teeth, giant claws, spikes, plates. One of the most famous dinosaurs, which we'll see as we walk around, Stegosaurus.
Yes.
The big plates on his back, the spikes on his tail, which was about a 30-foot animal. It weighed in the neighborhood of 15,000 pounds, maybe give or take. Colorado State fossil, we have found footprints from those in this area. So those were very bizarre animals, and they lived here in Eagle County.
Which is so incredible and such a unique piece of our history, and something that I think you blow a lot of people's mind with as you talk about it, because I didn't honestly know this until I got to spend some time with you here before. And I think it's fascinating to hear as the evolution of the dinosaurs and Pangaea breaking apart and separating and just what transpired. And this is a great way to learn. Now, we have to bring them up only because I've been obsessed since we got here with my girl Tilly, and we've got Erwin behind us. Now, why are these such a crucial part of the museum? And what's so unique about showing them?
Well, just like these guys, Tilly is a sulcata tortoise, also called an African spurfoot tortoise. She's about 2 years old, and Maddie, she's going to reach about 80 years old one day. She's going to be about 200 pounds, and it's funny because everyone's like, well, Billy, what are you going to do with her when she's that big? And I don't have to worry about that because I'm not going to be around most likely. Hopefully she'll still be living here at the museum, and the museum will be a much bigger, more established spot. But Tilly, along with Erwin, our blue iguana up here, of course, they're both reptiles, as were dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were a very unique type of reptile. But these guys are really terrific at giving, especially kids, but even adults, the chance to look at something like Erwin, who has these big spikes all over his neck and back and big scales and jowls on his face. When you look at him and look at some of these dinosaur skulls, his skull does not look a whole lot different than some of these guys' skulls.
Right.
So now a kid or even adult can look at these and go, well, maybe they had big flaps of skin. Maybe they had big scales. Maybe they had these big spikes all over their necks and back, because those things don't last. All those things I just named, those are like keratin, they're fingernails, so it disappears,
Which is so cool and such a great way to involve kind of modern living creatures with these prehistoric.
Exactly.
And then
plus they're just so cute. Look at Tilly.
I know, I'm smitten. Tilly has me so smitten in here.
Tilly just steals all the girls' hearts. She is very, very cute. So things continue to change. We'll get through this. So Jurassic time, we still have one more chapter. Chapter 3 is the Cretaceous. So the Jurassic ends. It's not as violent as Pangaea. The climate's changing, but needless to say, at the end of the Jurassic, a lot of these massive animals that we all know, Stegosaurus, Allosaurus, the big long necks, they all go extinct. They disappear from ancient Colorado, but now we have new locals. This is a time of Tyrannosaurus rex, who is a Colorado dinosaur.
Wow.
We have Triceratops with the massive horns, also Colorado. We have raptors. But one of the most unique things that happened at this time, Maddie, if we could move right down here, the climate is getting very hot during this time.
Right.
And of course, as the earth heats up, we're seeing this nowadays, we're getting a massive melt of ice, of permafrost, of snow all over the world. Well, when this happened, every bit of ice and snow in the whole world melted, all of it. And for those of you who might not realize this, if you were to go to sleep tonight, and all the ice and snow in the entire world melted, when you woke up tomorrow, the oceans of the world would be as high as the Statue of Liberty's left elbow.
So
the elbow she's holding the Book of Freedom in.
A lot of people would be swimming.
A lot of people. We'd have a lot more ocean front probably here in Colorado. But if we look at this picture, these are all animals that lived here. Massive creatures, these huge mosasaurs. These are not dinosaurs, they're ocean reptiles that reach lengths of 60 to 65 feet. This museum's only about 50 feet wide, so they wouldn't even fit in here. Massive sharks used to be swimming here in Eagle County. All kinds of strange creatures. But whatever shows up, eventually things will disappear. And about 70 million years ago, something major happens.
Right.
The Rocky Mountains finally show up. And with that uplift of going from the bottom of the ocean floor to tens of thousands of feet, that combined with a cooling earth again, and all that water being pulled out and stored as ice and snow all over, those levels drastically changed. And that combined with Rockies that lived during the Cretaceous time, those Rocky Mountains lifted to sometimes 30,000 foot peaks in Colorado.
Wow.
That's higher than Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Imagine Colorado being covered in mountains that are 30,000 feet high. But they did. They took the bottom of the ocean, pushed it to the top. That's why right down the street from where we're here in Edwards, right from where we're standing, right down the street, there's layers of ocean floor right down there. So we're finding shark's teeth. We're finding bones from massive mosasaurs. We're finding these beautiful curled shells from ammonites, the squid-like creatures that used to be swimming right here. So it's incredible because it really gives us that perspective. And in my opinion, it gives us that perspective on our own lives. And we realize how fleeting everything is.
I mean, one of my favorite sayings that a history teacher told me is you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And this is a great stepping stone.
It's a great stepping stone.
Into learning where we as a county and where we have been before.
And where we might be going. Who knows, in another 50 million years, these Rocky Mountains could be gone. We might be the bottom of an ocean again right here.
Or the dinosaurs could come back.
And or maybe even weirder things will come back. That's
true.
What's so incredible about science, is I always tell kids, the greatest thing about science, we don't know what someone's going to find tomorrow. And that's thrilling.
That is thrilling. Now, Billy, there are some great ways for people to get involved and to come enjoy the museum here. So let's really briefly talk about that, because we've talked a lot about the dinosaurs, but what if people want to come see the dinosaurs?
As you can tell, I'll just keep going. So our website is dinosaurjunction.org. We are a nonprofit, so dinosaurjunction.org. You can get all the information on that, our hours, when we're open. We do have family memberships. We do have single memberships. We're always taking donations. We have an incredible volunteer staff. We are all volunteer, and they are just outfitted with all kinds of knowledge. So one of the greatest things about this spot, as opposed to maybe some other museums around, is when you come here, you're going to get a personalized service. You're going to be able to talk to someone. If you're walking about and you see something that spurs a question, you can ask one of us, and we're happy to share that knowledge with people. So I think that kind of private, personal service has made us pretty unique. We've been open it'll be 2 years in June. And we're continuing to grow. Our numbers are crazy. We've had thousands of students from classes in Summit County, obviously mainly Eagle County, Garfield County. We've had students from Pitkin County. So we are moving in the right direction. But it's a fantastic museum. It is growing, and we are finding more and more things every spring. The more we find, the more we can put on exhibit here.
Which is so incredible, Billy. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Thanks
chat
for
with
being
us,
here.
walking us around, giving us all this great information, and really loving what you do, because hearing the passion in your voice sparks a curiosity within my inner child to come back and have another tour to finish the other half of the museum.
Well, good. Then my work is done.
Billy, thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Make sure that you come check out the museum, because you're going to fall in love. And if you are lucky enough to have local legend paleontologist Billy walking you through, you're going to fall in love even more with the dinosaurs. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show.
Good morning, Vail.
Did you know that all Eagle County residents and visitors can get a free Eagle Valley Library District card? All you need is a photo ID. You get our online databases and resources, free music, free streaming, all from wherever you have internet access. Free audiobooks and e-audiobooks straight to your phone. Go into your Eagle Valley Library District branch today and get your library card.
TV8 te brinda la mejor programación en español todos los días. Sintoniza Conexión Latina los lunes, miércoles y viernes a las 7 de la tarde con repeticiones los fines de semana. Además, te presentamos nuestro nuevo programa Sabores y Creaciones, donde hemos juntado tus recetas y manualidades favoritas en un solo lugar los martes y jueves a las 7 de la tarde. Y por último, disfruta de Daily Flash Latino, con noticias y entretenimiento en tendencia los sábados a las 7 de la tarde. Te esperamos por el canal 92 de Comcast, nuestra página de Facebook TV8 Conexión Latina, nuestro canal de YouTube TV8 Vail Good Morning Vail o nuestra página web tv8vail.com.
Coming up this season on Ready, Set, Renovate, we see one couple fall in love with a waterfront fixer-upper.
It sort of wrapped its arms around us and said, you want me, and we did.
And watch as another battles over the budget.
We're trying to look through and see where we can trim at this point.
Are you looking to trim it, Ginger?
No.
No.
Construction pros show us the right way to renovate.
Well, we had to do a roof over. We had to hand build a lot of the trusses.
As we're putting the thin set down, the self-leveler has a little clip that clips up underneath the edge of the tile.
Do you have an interesting hobby or skill you'd like to share for Vail Valley? We want to hear from you. We're looking for people to share their musical, artistic, culinary, woodworking, athletic, or technical talents on Good Morning Vail. If you'd like to share your talents with the community, email Danielle at tvavail.com. Join the community conversation. There's more for you on 92.
Daily Flash.
I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to
Mitch English and Andrea Jackson have co-hosted together for over a decade. And now, only on Daily Flash, they serve up a fast, fun, fresh perspective on the day's trending news and entertainment. Daily Flash offers the latest in pop news, celebrity gossip, fashion, health, wellness, and even some unscripted, irreverent, who knows what's next fun. Daily Flash with Mitch English and Andrea Jackson. Trending news and entertainment.
Good morning, Vail.
Sometimes we like to have a spring awakening, and a great way to do that is to maybe change some aspects of our life. Well, if you're looking for a new career, then Bill Humbert, the recruiter guy, is the perfect way to do that. Now, I had a chance to sit down and chat with him not that long ago about some great tips and tricks that you may want to know. Are you in the market for a new career? Are you looking to make a shift? Well, then Bill Humbert, the recruiter guy, is the perfect person to help you do so. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm so lovely because I get to spend some time chatting with you. You always have such great information, and you've got some great statistics that we're going to get into here in just a moment.
Yes, we will. And I even have a QR code that I'm going to show too. You know, businesses are missing many of the top candidates, and the reason is that they've heard from the government that the official unemployment rate at the end of March 2024 is 3.8%. And many companies feel that we're in full employment at that point. And you can find these statistics by clicking on this QR code. And what you'll see is a table from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they will show that that line U3 is the official unemployment statistic, which is 3.8%. Now, the way that works is the government only is tracking the people who are on unemployment insurance, and as soon as they drop off, then they drop down to line U6. And I have to read to you how that's described because it's like 2 or 3 lines long. U6 is the total unemployed, so U3, plus all persons marginally attached to the workforce, plus total employed part-time for economic reasons. In other words, they need money. As a percent of the civilian labor force, plus all persons marginally attached to the labor force. And the rate for the people in U6 at the end of March 2024 is 7.3% of the total workforce, or 12,015,800 people. Now, that's the true unemployment number. And as a talent attraction consultant, these statistics on U6 are cause for celebration. Can't you find at least one candidate that's a qualified candidate out of over 12 million workers? Sure.
It's wild to hear these numbers, and it's wild to see how this has kind of shifted throughout the years, because this is something that everyone follows along with. Now let's talk about how these statistics are impacting businesses.
Well, so what I hear, as a talent attraction consultant, is I talk to executives and they're saying we're having a terrible time finding the right people. And I say, why? Well, the country is at full employment. And I go, well, let me show you the reason why we're really not at full employment. And when I show them U6 and say, the total unemployment number is truly 7.3%, or 12,015,800 people, they're going, what? So it's important for the executives to know this, so that if they hear from HR or anybody else that they can't find the right person, they go, so there's over 12 million people unemployed. What's up?
So as they're sitting down, as they're working through this process, what should hiring managers do to change the perception of the recruiters?
Well, one of the things that they can do, hopefully some of the recruiters are looking at this TV interview that we have and they go, oh, I didn't know that. And, it's true. Most people don't. If not, then the executives and the hiring managers can take that. Here, I'll show the QR code one more time. Take the QR code and go to the table itself and then show that to the recruiters and say, hey, you have plenty of people to choose from. Now go get them. Or with me, I tell managers, think of me as a Labrador Retriever. Show me what the bone looks like and go fetch, Humbert.
I was just going to ask you, what is your recommendation for hiring managers as they're going through this process? But it sounds like it's just to come to you and get the best help possible.
That's a great way of doing it. I love, I've been doing this over 40 years, and obviously I love what I do, and it's fun being a Labrador Retriever of people.
I would imagine it is. Now, if people are interested, hiring managers, executives, in getting more information from you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Simply go to my website, recruiterguy.com, and then there's a red banner, and on that red banner, click and put yourself on my calendar whenever it's at your convenience.
Which is such a great way for people to pick the master's brain, because you are the recruiter guy. And not only can you help people find the perfect job to suit them, but you can also help businesses find the perfect candidates for their available positions.
Thank you, and that's true. I love doing that.
Bill, just really quickly, how long have you been doing this job?
Since 1981.
And that's why you're the expert in this space. People can trust you, they know you, and you've got great credentials because you've been helping people do this for a very long time.
I have. I have one client that since 1996 has worked with me 11 times.
Wow.
And most recently to find a COO for his restaurant business.
See, that's incredible, and that's why they call you the recruiter guy. Bill, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us this morning.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Make sure that if you are struggling to find those perfect candidates, you reach out to Bill. That way you can get all the great information and learn these tips and tricks. You can always rewind this interview to get that QR code again, and that way you can see the true statistics. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show, so stay tuned.
Good morning, Vail.
Welcome to Street Magic. I'm Elizabeth Stanton with some of the most terrifying stunts, extraordinary extreme escapes, and the most amazing cutting-edge magicians you'll ever see in one show. Get ready to have your mind turned inside out. The hand is definitely quicker than the eye.
It's fake! It's fake!
America was built on a love for the outdoors. We are a nation of sportsmen, blessed with magnificent natural resources. With broad interests across water and field, we are united in our devotion to nature and conservation. Join us every week for the best shows celebrating the outdoor lifestyle. Outdoor America. Live free.
I'm Amy Goodman, host of Democracy Now! Our independent news hour offers diverse perspectives and unique opinions, often unheard in the mainstream media, live as the news unfolds. Tune in for Democracy Now!, the War and Peace Report, weekday mornings at 9 and evenings at 6 on TV8 Vail, Comcast Xfinity Channel 92. There's more for you on Channel 92.
Hi, it's Max at TV8 Vail. We want to invite you all to the Wacky Winter Reading Program. It's open to all ages. All you have to do is read 10 books or 1,000 pages. For more information, go on our website, tv8vail.com. And thank you to our sponsor, the Eagle Valley Library District.
Good morning, Vail.
I'm so excited to be here with my good friend Nikki Mills in the beautiful space in Avon, Colorado, Vail Skin and Lashes Medical Spa. How are you doing, Nikki?
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming back in.
I am so excited. I have to be honest, I come here at least once a week. It's a true story. I love the spray tans. I love the facials. I love that you can get Botox. I can get all my cosmetic needs here and so much more. Nikki, tell us kind of what your favorite things to do are here, because I know it's a medical spa. So what do you have to offer?
Well, one of my favorite things to do on you, Gretchen, is your brows.
Yes. Oh, how did I forget that? That's my main moment, are my eyebrows.
Yes, you've had, let's see, brow lamination with me.
Yep.
Hennas.
Yes.
And tinting.
Waxing.
Shaping.
We've done the whole thing.
Yes.
And I get stopped for my eyebrows. That's a true story. Do you know that? All the time people are like, I love the big, thick eyebrow. It's very glamorous and glitzy.
You are very special and you are glamorous, that's for sure.
I would like to thank you for making me look this way because I love coming in this space. It's brand new. I can't wait to show everyone around. It's beautiful chandeliers. It's a medical spa. Can you explain a little bit how this stands out and why it's different than the other spas around town?
Yes, well, our address is 30 Benchmark Road, Suite G2, And this place has been a hair salon for about 30 years. So I think almost everyone in town who does hair has worked in this space at one time. And almost everyone in town has been here at one time to get their hair done. And so when I bought it a couple years ago, I renovated the space, added a big, beautiful treatment room. I was tired of working in little treatment rooms, so I built a really big one that could house all of our new equipment, our lasers, the hydrofacial, the cryotherapy for fat freezing. We have lymphatic compression massage, a pantsuit that hopefully you'll see later. And I just needed a lot more space, but we still have 2 smaller treatment rooms. One that you're really familiar with. We do spray tans and waxing and facials. And then another room that I'm so excited about and which distinguishes us from any of the other spas in the area is it's the medical side of things that we offer. So we do Botox, filler, Kybella.
Well, and I know that you have a really special room, the consultation room, and it is stunning, so exciting. And something you were telling me a little bit about that's so neat and different is anyone that comes in here, you can take a before and then an after picture of the different things that you've had done to you to see the process and how it's actually working.
Yes, it's a very special camera. It does skin analysis. So you put your head inside a frame and it'll take a series of 3 pictures and it analyzes inside of your skin. And when we look at the pictures, you can see where your sunspots are, where you're dehydrated, where your fine lines and wrinkles are. And so we store that information and then we'll get you on a program and packages that we can do a series of treatments and we'll recommend some of these products here. And what this camera is going to help show our guests is the before and then say if they come back in 3 months. Did that really do anything for me? That treatment or that eye cream or skin firming, are my wrinkles going away? You know, how does my filler look or my Botox look after a couple weeks? So looking very closely through that camera and saving those photos and then doing another set of photos and comparing them back to back. And that makes us special because no one else is doing that with that kind of software that really analyzes it.
That is so awesome. And I think it's really cool too because we were talking a little bit, men and women alike come in here. So it is a one-stop shop for men and women to come in and feel beautiful from the inside, well, outside in, I guess this time. Because it's true, when you feel and look your best, I think that truly helps you, you know, to kind of glow from the outside and then bring that beauty inside.
Yes, we obviously have a lot of women in here, but what makes us special is that we do cater to men. I do a lot of waxing, brows, ears, nose, but then we also get guys in for spray tans and skincare and facials. And with the medical spa side of it, they are more than welcome to come in and meet with our nurse and get Botox and filler.
So Nikki, I know something that you provide that is very unique to this valley is a lot of makeup services. And people sometimes think, oh, we don't wear makeup here in Vail, but not true. Glitz and glam, that's what I'm saying. We have red carpet events, we have galas, we have date nights where we just want to feel and look beautiful. So this is a service you do here, right?
Yes, and also weddings. And
wedding.
Yes.
How could I forget?
The main makeup line that I carry is Jane Iredale, and it's called the skincare makeup. So for those of us who may be a little bit more granola, our makeup just can blend in naturally, but then we also can take it to the glam level for those red carpet events or for brides and her party.
And so, Nikki, do you do this? Is this something you could come to someone's home, or do they need to come in here because you have all the makeup I see? It's beautiful, and you have so much of it.
Yes, we can travel with it as well, but I'd love to have you come in and give you a makeover and take you through and make sure we find all the right colors. And Jane Iredale is a really popular brand that people from all over the country, they look at Jane Iredale website and they find us, and so when they're here in Vail, they can get stocked up on whatever they're running low on.
Well, I definitely will come in because I know winter to summer here, especially like my skin and with the spray tans you do for me, my skin needs different colors, different tones, you know, to put on my lips and my eyes and different foundations. So I'll definitely come in and check it out.
Yes, and one of the lines we carry, the Extreme Lashes makeup line,
Yes.
is safe for your eyelash extensions.
That is a good thing to know. I know many women in this town that would not want to tell this all the time, but there are lots of, yes, the lashes walking around.
Yes, and our makeup is safe for the lashes as well. And if you don't have lashes, we can get you some by using the Revitalash product.
And I love this too because Nikki and I are dear friends, and I know that you do this because it gives you a feeling of self-worth because you're making people feel beautiful. And I know some of the stories you've shared with me, and people genuinely have thanked you for helping truly turn around their lives by making them look good on the outside and feel better on the inside. And that's an amazing thing. That's really cool.
Well, it is part of my mission
Yeah.
to help make the earth more beautiful,
Yes.
like one person at a time.
Oh, I feel that.
And there's a lot of hurting people in the world today. And so when they come in and I get the privilege of laying my hands on them and touching them, it can be a very special experience. And to be able to provide some peace, comfort, relaxation, help with self-esteem,
Yeah.
and that just reminds me of, all the young kids that I work with too, who, it's a tough world out there with social media and Instagram. And, I like to help people with acne, and my own children, have had
Yes.
issues with it and struggle. And we have a skincare line back here called Face Reality Skincare. And that's a series of treatments and great products. And also like our red light therapy and our acne light therapy,
Right.
are easy, painless treatments that people can have. And I do have really good numbing cream for some of the things that you might be a little afraid of for pain-wise, like the Procel microneedling.
Right.
I'll be working on someone and they'll say, I'm not feeling, and I'm like, okay, I can go after you a little
That's
bit
the
harder,
point.
but
Yeah. Well, and this is so neat too because you just let me know that you do house calls as well, which is pretty special. So if someone's maybe not feeling the best version of themselves, maybe feeling really down, and they want to have this moment where they feel better and you make them feel better, you will physically go to their house. That's pretty awesome.
yeah, we just got back from a house in Minturn with a mom with a new baby, which
love it.
it's so hard to pack everything up and go have a treatment if she has a wedding coming up. So that's just an example. But then we have a lot of resort guests, and we're able to bring our services to the resort, the hotel, the condo, the apartment, the house, whatever. We can make it happen.
I love this. It truly is a one-stop shop, and I can't wait to get around and look at everything, and I'm so excited. Thank you, Nikki, so much for just telling us all about the amazing things that you do, and thank you for being you and making the world a better place.
Thank you, Gretchen.
And a more beautiful place.
Yes, one person at a time.
I love it. Keep it right here for more Glitz and Glam with Gretchen.
Eyepieces of Vail has been a fixture in the Vail community for over 30 years. From designer frames and sunglasses to high-performance sports frames, prescription goggles, and in-demand accessories like helmets, goggle lenses, and foldable reading glasses, our inventory raises the optical bar. Visit one of our 7 locations today and see why generations of loyal customers return time after time for our unmatched service and inventory. Eyepieces, the art of vision.
One of the longest-running syndicated television series is back, America's Black Forum, a weekly series highlighting the latest in our lifestyles, business, entertainment, and finance. We introduce you to entrepreneurs who are making their mark in the business world and leaders who are fighting for change.
Welcome to America's Black Forum.
Tune in each week to know what's happening in our world today on America's Black Forum.
Hello, everyone. I'm Raisa Pascal.
And I'm Andrea Jackson. Welcome to Life, Love, Shopping. Have any personal stories you can share?
Do I? Yes, I do.
So even though you work for some good deals, too good to miss on flash deals now. Check this out.
Studies show spending time outdoors can help with depression, lowering blood pressure, and overall health and happiness.
Join us on the famous Leadville Railroad. This historic train ride takes you on an unforgettable trip through the heart of the Rockies for an afternoon of adventure, relaxation, and sightseeing. Our scenic train rides are a perfect place to bring families closer together while immersing them in the natural beauty and rich history of this picturesque region. Enjoy the spectacular Colorado scenery. Even meet the engineer. Make memories that will last a lifetime. Tickets available at LeadvilleRailroad.com.
You're watching K34QB, Vail, Colorado.
Good morning, Vail.
With graduations and wedding season right around the corner, it's important that you've got a great planner to help you do so. Well, I had a chance to sit down with Alex Bradshaw and get some great ideas and maybe help you find your new planners. So let's introduce you to Alex.
Good morning, Vail.
Are you planning a great event, maybe a wedding, maybe a graduation party? Well, then I have found the perfect wedding planner or event planner for you. This is Alex Bradshaw, and she's with Stunning and Brilliant Events. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Maddie. Thank you so much for having us on with you today.
Thank you so much for being here, only because what you do is so rewarding, but people don't understand how challenging, because your attention to detail is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Yes, I feel like there is so much that we do that people don't realize. You know, we're behind the scenes, and that's kind of our job, but it's our job to also make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. So that's what we pride ourselves on.
Which is incredible, and you have a fantastic event planning background. So anyone who works with Alex, you're going to be in the utmost wonderful hands. She's going to take the best care of you. But people don't understand what you do as you're getting closer to the wedding. So let's kind of break it down.
Absolutely. So 30 days out, well, it also depends on which package you choose, but starting 30 days out, we like to make sure that we have all of the personal information, all of the personal items from the planner, or I'm sorry, from the couple themselves. So anything that they want to make sure that they have at the wedding, we start to gather all of that. We start to touch base with all of the vendors, make sure that their contracts are all settled, make sure that they have all the details that they need as far as our layout, our timeline, all of those final details, you know. So that's about 30 days out. As we get closer in, you know, day before, that's like gearing up the Saturday before the Super Bowl, you know, everybody's getting pumped, everybody's ready to get going. But we want to make sure that as soon as vendors arrive on site for the venue day before, that we are also there. We want to get as much set up as we possibly can day before. And so that we can just plug and play on wedding day, you know. So day before, we want to meet with the officiant, we want to meet with the couple, we want to meet all of the bride and groom's special people, you know, their moms, dads, their bridal party, their groomsmen, to make sure that they're all on cue, to make sure that they know exactly what we're doing. We'll run through rehearsal. And we just get to share so much information with them so that they are stress-free and so that they're ready. We have a bridal agenda that we like to give out so that they have all of our information, all of our contact information, all of the travel plans, you know, if there's any organized transportation from venue to reception or anything like that, we want to make sure that we have all of that and make sure that they know all of that information so that we are ready to rock and roll.
And so the key word that you just said as you went into all of this was packages. People have different price points that they can choose from because planning a wedding is not always the most cost efficient.
Exactly.
And especially depending on where you're doing it.
Right.
But if you are someone who needs the extra help, you guys offer a way to make it convenient and accessible to everyone.
Absolutely, yes. And we have different price points, like you mentioned. We have different options, you know, so if you want somebody to be there to hold your hand and you just want to show up and say, I do, we can absolutely do that. But if you want to be a little bit more hands-on, we have the capability to work you into all of the planning. I mean, it's your wedding, so we want to make sure that you have exactly what level of planning that you're comfortable with and that you want to be involved with. So we can offer a lot to all.
Which I think is so wonderful because sometimes I think people forget the details that go
Right.
into a wedding, from napkin selection
Right.
to making sure the tables show up and the cloths are on them to the placemats being perfect. And so
Absolutely.
those are things that you guys take care of as you're ramping up and getting closer to the wedding.
Yes, yes. So day of comes around, and that's what we're doing, you know. So we're setting up everything day before, but day of comes, morning of day of. We love to send a little text to the bride and groom, you know, happy wedding day, let's get ready to have some fun. And then as we continue throughout the day, we are making sure that all of the vendors are on time. We're making sure that they have everything set up that they need. We want to make sure that everybody is stress-free. We want to take on as much responsibility as we possibly can. And so day of, we come staffed. It's not just me showing up by myself. You know, we're going to have teams of up to 6 people depending on how big the event is, so we can divide and conquer for sure. And we always come staffed with our emergency kit. So we've got anything from bobby pins, tied pins, to we even carry hot glue guns in there. You never know what you're gonna need, you know? We actually used a hot glue gun once to make a tie. We had a groomsman show up that didn't have his tie. We cut up a silk napkin, folded it together, and made it into a tie, and you would have never known the difference. So,
oh my goodness.
yeah, so we come prepared for everything. But we also, day of, want to make sure that the bride and groom eat, you know. There are so many, I feel like you hear all the time that somebody that's already married talking to somebody that's engaged, and they're like, oh, well, you're not going to eat any of that food, so don't worry about it, you know.
Right.
No, we want to make sure you eat. The ceremony is over. We have drinks in hand. We have appetizers in hand for you to take to your pictures. We make sure that if you want a private dinner before you head back to the group of everyone, we can absolutely schedule that into the timeline as well. And as the ceremony wraps up, we're packing up to-go boxes to put in your car to send with you so that you get to eat all of that good, delicious food that you got to pick out for yourselves, you know?
Right. That you spent so much time working on
so
and
much time
tasting.
and stress. Yeah, so
Right.
we want to make sure that you get to eat it and enjoy the drinks and enjoy the company as well.
Which is really important. And another thing that I hear a lot of bride and groom say is they didn't get to spend enough time with the significant other, so that private dinner really makes a huge difference.
Right, absolutely. Oh yes, and whether that's just the bride and groom, they want to like sneak about 5 minutes to themselves, you know, they just got married. There's something to say for that, of course, so you want to like be able to cherish that time together. Or, like I said, if you want to have a couple other people invited into that private dinner, we can absolutely make that happen as well. Of course, everybody at your wedding, of course, you invited them, so you want them to be there to enjoy with you, but sometimes there's just a few that you want to hold that moment and cherish with.
Which I think is so special and so endearing for
Yeah.
people, and especially as we have such a beautiful summer season here.
Absolutely.
And so if someone is maybe like, all right, we're going to kind of do a shotgun wedding, we're going to do this quickly, is that something you guys can also help them with?
Oh, absolutely. We'll do anything from elopements to shotgun weddings, you know, so we can do it all for sure.
Which makes it definitely entertaining, and we're in such a beautiful area for people to kind of last minute decide that maybe they want to get married on top of Beaver Creek. Maybe they want to get married by Nottingham Park. We have so many great natural backdrops for people to enjoy, but then we also have a lot of wonderful venues. Now, if someone wants to do one of our big venues that we have here that are very popular, that you need a little more preparation for.
Right, yes, yes. And so that would just be organizing with the venue, making sure they have the date available and all of that. But we've got, another great thing about hiring a planner is we've got contacts in our back pocket, you know, so you never know when you're going to need somebody, and we'll be there to pull on those strings for you.
Those back pocket cards are really an essential key to living. Now, if people are interested in booking you for a wedding, or maybe graduation is right around the corner, so let's quickly talk about if someone needs a last-minute graduation party planner.
Yes, so I would love to help with any graduation parties. We will coordinate, you know, if you're going to college, next steps, we can get that in there for you. We can put the school's colors in there, you know, we can do cakes, balloons, invitations, tablescapes, whatever venue you want to choose, whether that's your backyard or somewhere like Beaver Creek, you know, we can make that happen.
Which I think is so important, and especially since, you know, everyone's like, it's off season, we're settling down. We are not.
No, we are not settling down, no. Summer's right around the corner, and so with that comes wedding season, and that can continue through the rest of the seasons here, so.
Now, if someone wants to book you to have you help plan one of their fabulous events, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you, and what does the beginning process look like?
So the best way to get in contact with me would be our website, stunningandbrilliantevents.com, or my direct number, 970-431-6644. And to get that process started, we'll have a phone call, we'll have a meeting, maybe we can go and grab some coffee somewhere, and we'll talk about what your vision is. You know, I always love to put together mood boards after that initial conversation to send that to you, to be like, is this what you're looking for? And we can adjust from there, and kind of just piece together all of the details. You know, I would start planning immediately if you decide that that is something that you would want to do, and we can get started.
Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Give us all this great information. One more time, what's the website?
stunningandbrilliantevents.com.
Alex, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie.
If you are looking for a great party planner, a great event planner, well, then you want to make sure that you check out Stunning and Brilliant Events and contact Alex, because she's here, she's local, and she'll do the best job possible. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more Good Morning Vail.
Good morning, Vail.
Stevie Lee Woods presents Nashville Roadhouse Live, where country meets rock and roll.
It's where I drank my first beer, where I found Jesus, where I wrecked my first car, I tore it all to pieces.
Join us every week for more live performances right here on Nashville Roadhouse Live.
Did you know that all Eagle County residents and visitors can get a free Eagle Valley Library District card? All you need is a photo ID. You get our online databases and resources, free music, free streaming, all from wherever you have internet access. Free audiobooks and e-audiobooks straight to your phone. Go into your Eagle Valley Library District branch today and get your library card.
Hi there! Are you ready to explore famous neighborhoods from New York City to Kentucky? Watch The Neighborhood with host Nicole Newman. Featuring famous people, unique history, and delicious places to eat and drink. Our viewers get an inside personal look at each neighborhood. With each episode we learn, grow, laugh, and live like a local, not just a visitor. Welcome to The Neighborhood. Check your local program schedule and tune in.
Daily Flash Latino. Designed for the American Latino audience, Daily Flash Latino hosts Jessica Reyes and Fabian Marcano deliver their fresh perspective on the latest entertainment news, celebrity gossip, fashion, health, and more in both English and Spanish, aka Spanglish. Daily Flash Latino builds, connects, and celebrates the diverse Hispanic audience. Daily Flash Latino, trending news and entertainment with a splash of Spanglish.
Good morning, Vail.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of GMV Express. We love getting to be here and walk you through some great things that you can do here in our community. Now, I hope my pink has inspired you to welcome spring to the mountains, because it is finally here. We're going to start to see those temperatures warm up. I hope that you get out there, you have a great Sunday, and that I see you at the event with the Eagle County Animal Shelter at 2nd Street in Eagle today. So make sure that you make your way down. It's a little bit warmer down there too, so it's really welcoming spring. We'll see you tomorrow on GMV.
Good morning, Vail. See what lies in store for you. There's so many things to see and do. summer, winter, spring, or fall. Your home in the Rockies has it all. So get up, get ready to start your day. The coffee's brewing, you're on your way. The fun is waiting outside your door. Good morning, Vail.
Happy Friday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Chat Box Vail, the only podcast that we have here in our community that also focuses on all things mental health. I have two amazing people with me today. You all know partner in crime, Jen Sido, and our special guest tonight is Chris Romer. You might recognize the mug from all kinds of places, but he is part of the Vail Valley Partnership, as well as you also do a column in the Vail Daily, and you're a super popular online presence here in our community.
I'm something.
He's something else. No, but I invited you today because we tackle conversations that eventually lead back to our mental health awareness, our emotional well-being, and things that really just affect ourselves in our daily lives. And I love to follow you because you're raw, you're real, and you're very, you know what, you're not, I don't know if it is vulnerability because you just put it out there and you don't care. So I don't know if that's being vulnerable, because if you don't care, you're not vulnerable. I don't know. But I do think that the feedback you get helps you process some stuff that you put out there. Now, what I'm talking about is it mostly because of the Vail Daily?
It's because of, so what you're referencing, for those who aren't aware, I often share on Facebook, I call them kind and thoughtful emails that are usually neither kind nor thoughtful.
Right.
And we'll share a couple of those, but yeah, under the theme of bullying, which isn't a term I've really thought about it in terms of the emails that I might receive.
Really? That's the first thing that came to my head. Is I'm like, wow, what a bunch of bullies, thumb thugs.
It clearly is.
It is.
I just haven't framed it that way necessarily within my own construct.
You have more tact.
You know, to your point, Liz, I don't know that it's that I don't care. Everybody cares.
I know you do.
You should care.
I do know you do. It's just the fact that you can do it so easily.
Yeah, but when I get these love letters, if you will, I don't take it personally, because I know it's someone who's expressing their frustration over something that inherently has nothing to do with me, and I share those things in small part to process it, but mostly to share with others the bullying or the attitude that people take towards quasi-public figures in a small town. And I accepted, I've been at the chamber at Vail Valley Partnership now for almost 18 years.
Wow.
And I accepted a long time ago that put me in a public position. Right, and writing a weekly newspaper column and talking about issues of importance to the community and to our businesses, it does put me in a little bit of a vulnerable situation. So yes, I care. I care immensely.
I hope
I care. I care a lot about community and about the people in this community and about the businesses in this community.
Right.
I care much less about a keyboard warrior sending me love letters.
See, first of all, how adult of you, right? I know Jen and we're pretty emotional beings, and I have to say that if I got notes like you did, it would crush me, even though I still have the same, I know. Okay, so we all have a logical mind and then we have our emotional mind. The logical mind says, look, this has nothing to do with me. This is this person that's just spewing and they have issues. But then this part of the emotions goes, why are they picking on me? And what did I do to make them hate me? So it's a very hard dichotomy to process for a lot of people.
Of course.
And I mean, men, women, different, whatever you are, a lot of people do not handle criticism well, or public displays of bullying. I had a friend who was in the local market one day, and it's just a quickie, but I can give you guys an example of what it's like, what the temperature is like, even here in our beautiful bubble. She was standing by a sushi bar in the market, and a woman walked by the sushi bar, pulled out a tissue, she blew her nose, and then she threw it on the sushi bar.
Oh my God.
A little disgusting, right? So my friend, all she did was she said, you know, they cut food on that. There's a trash right there. Well, this lady unleashed a world of hell on my friend. No, I mean, she started insulting the way she looked. She was screaming so loud that everybody was watching. My friend ran out in tears. Now, I would have probably said something too, but I would have been like, that's disgusting, lady. And if she had something to say to me, I would be right back in her face, which isn't smart either, which isn't any better than what she is. But I'm always like, I always feel that if somebody's going to attack me, I have to defend myself. But you take it to he takes it to this level of maturity and class and eloquence. You know, like,
who are we talking
I am
about?
actually talking about you. I don't know where those
Got it.
adjectives came from for you, Romer,
Yeah.
but no, I'm kidding.
I'd love to hear a sample letter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Listen to
let's
some
dive
of
in.
these. Jen, I mean, I tune in every week to read them.
Yeah, it's again. There's a lot. So let's find a few of the good ones. And again, these typically come to my email almost all, not all, but most are anonymous.
Really?
Right?
Chicken.
Yeah, people don't put their names. It doesn't say first name, last name
Well,
at
then
Gmail.
that's just coward.
It's like, 123 abc at Gmail.
So you
or
don't respond.
I will respond to people who put their name on it.
Okay.
Or people who have a baseline of wanting to have rational discussion.
Perfect.
I will not ignore people, but a lot of people are mean-spirited. So, for example, these are verbatim. I have a few words for you. Treason is a very serious offense and can be punishable by death. Repent now before it is too late.
Oh my God.
Whoa! What are you running for president that we didn't know about?
You might think it. I don't know. That was around a column that I wrote on healthcare.
And what does that have to do with anything?
Apparently, in their mind, something.
Does that
right?
sound like a threat to you, though?
It does.
It sounds like a
absolutely.
death threat to me.
Yeah, my team was pretty mortified by that one. Yeah,
I wish I had a team. I'd sick them.
But again, it's that one. They didn't sign their name, and that's easy to just put in the virtual trash can. And
Yeah, but don't you get worried about creeps like that are, I mean, do you know if they're out there learning?
Well, yeah,
Or
I
they
mean-
just being not brave enough and just behind their keyboard?
I think that, and maybe this is the compartmentalization.
Yes,
I don't
you
even
were
know
close.
that that's a word. I'm making up words here on the chat box. If I'm just separating that in my head, I recognize that there are people out there. I think that the angry people are going to be angry, and if they're not going to be angry at me, they're going to be angry at someone else. If they're not going to be angry at something I write or something I say, they're going to be angry at someone else. And I say this sincerely. If this helps them to jot off a really mean-spirited email, then I hope it helps them, and I hope they feel better for a brief amount of time, because it doesn't. I can segment it. Let's be clear, like with these emails, and I'll share a few more.
Please.
They're never from a business owner that I know of. They're never from a member of the chamber. We have 800 members.
Wow.
Throughout the valley. We're the largest chamber of commerce between the Front Range and Salt Lake City. We have a high renewal rate, and our member surveys are very strong. We know that we're doing good work for the businesses and the people, our programs and people who participate in our leadership programs and different things. those are the people that matter to me. If they were signing their names and they were members for 1 month or 20 years, and they were saying these things, it would bother me a lot more than if it was anonymous people using the internet for their own purposes.
Okay, can I ask you this before you read
Of
another
course.
one? What do you think, and I'm going to ask you the same question, what do you think everyone's mad at? Why is it, I mean, look, I get angry, but I don't take it out on people. I don't all of a sudden shield myself and become a monster. I have my anger stuff, and I work through it. I don't ever make somebody else's life uncomfortable or fearsome or anything like that. I mean, what about you?
I mean, honestly, it sounds like, some people, I think they don't feel powerful in their day-to-day. They don't feel like they can speak up. They don't feel like they can really, articulate like the issue that they're having in a certain manner. And so, when they're anonymous, then they can say whatever they want, and it's this kind of like release of anger or the, pain that they have without being able to articulate it, because maybe they don't know how to, maybe they can't, maybe but I feel like the same thing happens when you're driving your car. I've noticed a lot of, people with road rage are people that like...
Don't look them in the eye.
But are people who, at least in my experience, I've noticed people that have it really bad are not really good at dealing with their... they're completely different people behind if they were not inside their little box,
Okay.
with the
All right, and I will take that and have it make a little sense to me, even though I think they need therapy. But
of
what do you
course,
think
yeah.
everybody is angry at? Do you think it's a common denominator that has everybody up in arms? Or do you think it's just so many different avenues that the temperature has just changed in humanity?
I think the temperature has changed. I think that people... and everybody at some level is guilty of this, right? It's just where on the spectrum do you fall?
Absolutely.
Are you using a sports analogy, are you in the end zones? Are you on the 20-yard line? Are you in the 30-yard line, 40-yard line, midfield?
I'm in the batting cage. What does that mean?
I try, now you're in a whole different sport. But using that analogy, I think increasingly people go to the echo chambers of their end zone, right? And if you're not in the same end zone as them, you're inherently the enemy. And God help the people who are on the 10-yard line and not in the end zone, because those people get the brunt of it, right? If you're on the 10 or 20 and you agree with someone on 80% of stuff, boy, are they going to come after you for the 20% you don't. I try to live in the 40-yard lines.
I love that.
I try to live right between the 40s.
Have time.
A little bit here, a little bit there. Be flexible, be thoughtful and pragmatic, have my core values and my core beliefs. But I think what's happening is this echo chamber idea.
Yeah.
People are joining the online forums. They're watching and reading the media that only agrees with them. And then it just becomes this cycle of perpetual feedback of all the things that everyone wants them to be angry about. They get angry about. And then it's real easy to take it out on a guy who writes in the Vail Daily, or, whose picture they might see in the paper, or whatever the case, whose email's there every week, who's very, very easy to find. And it becomes an outlet, right? To your point, it becomes an outlet of...
I get that.
And that's not to excuse the behavior.
No, because I was going to say, you're a good humanist.
The behavior is bad. I'm not going to defend the behavior. We'll read some more of these to set the stage. But again, it's the idea of, I think it's really easy to sit behind a keyboard because I think I've been doing this a long time, and I can think of one time that someone has come up to me and expressed a strong difference of opinion, but they were very respectful about it.
Oh, well, good.
It wasn't angry. It was like, I think you're way off base on this thing that you wrote about.
But if
I said, okay, let's
come
talk
to you
about
and
that.
discuss it, it's fine, because that's an adult way to come about things.
Of course.
I mean, and I'm not going into politics, but we have one side and another side, and I always wanted to be coasting down the middle, just so everyone could communicate. But it's like never. Nobody hears what they don't want to hear, and nobody wants to say anything to somebody they know they're just going to be combated. So just with that one subject alone, and then there's so many other things that follow along with that, that I would venture to wish and hope that when people are frustrated and they have angst and a desire to lash out, maybe either talk it out or lash out at somebody who deserves it, as opposed to somebody who is trying to do good for the community.
Well, and nobody really deserves the kind of things like this.
I know.
You know,
No, I'm just kidding.
You know, so for example,
Let's get more.
this one's kind of funny. I think this one's funny. And again, verbatim email. Chris, you honestly couldn't be more of a pride. I mean, if that's your goal, well done.
Wow.
I like that one. That one's funny, right? Like that's.
I mean, I guess it's funny, but I mean, it's
It's
not
not
nice.
even specific enough. Like
Yeah, like they don't tell you why you're a. You're just a.
No, I know. They leave it to me to figure out, and I got that one a couple of years ago, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Drink more
I don't
vinegar and
know.
water. You'll be able to be
I
better.
don't know what it. I don't know what it is. You know. So here's speaking of bullying. You look like a schoolyard bully who beat the shit out of a kindergartner and thinks you're tough. You make me nauseous.
Oh my God! See, that makes me want to cry. I'm sorry. I mean,
Don't
I
cry.
mean, it really hurts me because that is assaulting you as far as your person. It's not even talking about what your ideals and thoughts are. I mean, this is somebody that's just shaming you because they don't like what? I mean, first of all, you don't look at all like a schoolyard bully.
But I think that's the point. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Like they're not are able to really hit on the issue, so they're just taking a low shot, right? It's kind of like lowbrow humor. Like if they don't, it's almost like I feel like there's a dopamine rush or hit that they get from putting out something like that. And if they get any likes, it's like, it's like women putting a beautiful picture. The more likes they get, the more they
Yeah, but these are
post.
personal emails. These aren't even like posted for public.
Oh,
I want to be an IP officer, an IP address officer.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am. I will find out who just wrote that horrible email. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about computers, but I would love to be able to figure it out.
I'm sure someone could.
Somebody
and
could. Just get them. Well, I'm sorry. You two are on the same wavelength a little bit. You both have more understanding hearts. Me, I take it to heart. I get mad. I get really vocal about it. And I literally loathe anybody that thinks they have the right to come at someone. And I think, and these are adults. Kid bullying, I believe, comes from home because of the parents. Not always, but there's a lot of that.
Or depending on their age,
yes,
figuring it out, right?
Right.
Like you need to figure stuff out sometimes. As a young child, you're figuring out your place and your limits, and you're pushing and you're pulling and you're learning. And as kids get older, there's definitely some of what you said.
Yeah,
but I think really young kids,
emulate your parents
when
a
you
little
see
bit.
this kind of stuff happen, it's emotional. It's pure raw emotion that they don't know how to cope with,
because their brains haven't
that
fully
manifests.
formed. Right.
As they get older, I think it has more of that family function and the network function.
I saw it in my brother and my dad. He was
for
a
adults,
bully.
there's no excuse for it. It's bad behavior. Like, let's be clear. It's poor behavior.
How do you think we could turn it around? Do you guys have any ideas on what perhaps we could do to maybe add, I don't know, throw a little potpourri on these people?
I think what you're doing is actually brilliant.
Really?
Just by posting it, because I think calling a light to it and shaming it and showing in a way that, hey, like this doesn't affect me, like this is just like what I'm dealing with, I think is powerful, and it is a message to the people that think they're hurting you with these little like jabs and insults via email, and I think that if somebody has the audacity to send an email like that, then it should be made public. Like, hey, like this is what you did, because their power comes behind the mask and being anonymous. And so like, even if they see that it, made your Facebook feed, like that could cause shame for them. They're like, oh my God, like I know I wrote that. Like, even though it's, but it's, to me, that is a good way to kind of stand up for yourself in a way without falling, into the negativeness yourself, and staying positive and, showing people that you are,
And that's in large part, that's really well articulated.
Yeah, it is.
And in large part why I share them.
Yeah.
Is to expose this underbelly, if you will, of it's a very small handful, but it's
there's a group.
I get it. It comes to me, people sharing. You have the mental capacity of a peanut. That I don't love getting an email that says that.
Yeah.
I mean, I may or may not, depending on the day and depending on who I'm compared to. I have no illusions of grandeur of ever being the smartest person in a room. But someone sending those emails, you're right. I think and that is why I try to share them, is to share that this kind of stuff happens here, to encourage people to do better.
To do better.
To just do
absolutely.
better.
It still has to help you process a little.
Of course.
I know that you say,
of course,
I take it with a grain, but we all have our emotional feelings, and I mean, I would lay awake at night with all those emails going through my head.
And I don't do that. It when I do get them, I tend to share them with my coworkers. And, okay, guys, here's this one. Everyone gather around.
Oh my God!
And they're mortified, and I tend to laugh at it, because it is very hard to take someone serious who doesn't share their name, who doesn't share the context.
Exactly.
I don't know if it was a business article, a legislative issue, a land use issue, a general column. I mean, I'm not writing about things in the Vail Daily that are typically, like, occasionally there's a land use issue or a housing issue that really gets people stirred up emotionally. But 95% of what I write about is community. It's about economic development. It's about businesses. It's about people. It's about the resources that exist to help people. It's about our kids, and the tools available to them. It's writing about new things that are happening that people might not know about. I'm not writing.
You're not stirring things up.
I'm not stirring things up, typically. Right?
Unless it's in somebody else's mind.
There's a small percent of things that I recognize are hot button issues. Every land use housing proposal is going to stir up emotional issues for people that are near it. It just does. It's happened in Gypsum. It's happened in Eagle. It happens in Edwards, in Eaglevale,
Avon, for sure.
in Avon, in Vail. Like, we see it. It's and not just in this valley.
Right.
Everywhere. Right. My friends in Topeka and Cincinnati, Ohio, and Texas, like, land use comes in and they hear about it because people are threatened by anyone living near them that isn't exactly like them. And there's data to show that.
There's wars that have started just about land.
Back to your earlier question, Liz, and your earlier framing of this, there's research out there. I would encourage people to Google it. It's called Edelman Trust Barometer. It's a study.
Trust Barometer.
Edelman, EDELMANN, Trust Barometer, and it's a research study that's done across the world. I think it's every year. And they find an increasing amount of people who don't trust government, don't trust business, don't trust teachers, don't trust colleges, don't trust their neighbors. And they find an increasing number of people. It's a staggering, I don't remember the exact number, but it's a staggeringly high number of people who don't even want to live in the same neighborhood as someone with a different political belief system.
These are people with bunkers.
Well, it's also a crazy high number of people who won't date someone of the opposite political party.
Well, who would you want to date somebody like that
What
anyway?
a sad reality.
It really is.
That these are the things that people identify as and identify with. Like, you should, I would hope, recognize that there's value in diversity, diversity of people, diversity of thoughts, diversity of everything, right? We're stronger. It gets this idea of, I'm going way off on a tangent.
It's okay.
We can get back to some kind and thoughtful emails.
Just gonna beat Chris up here.
But this idea of this melting pot, right? And
yeah, but they're trying to stop it.
Well, the melting pot, I think, is a bad analogy.
Why?
Because melting pot, you put everything in and you get it down to its base level.
Okay.
Where then everything's the same.
All the same.
I prefer the idea of like a potluck, or of a salad bowl, where everything gets mixed in, and it's going to be a little messy, and it's going to be, you know, maybe that tomato doesn't belong in a fruit salad, and maybe maybe grandma's casserole isn't the way your grandma made it, and you're like, well, that casserole sucks because it's not Grammy's recipe. but you're accepting of the fact that it was a potluck,
Right.
and everyone brought their own things to the table.
I like that analogy
It's
a
much
lot.
better than a mixing pot that wants to change everybody.
Right.
It's embracing the differences. It's recognizing the histories, and coming together
Yeah.
as a group.
It's
And I think it's
weird.
much more powerful.
And growing up, the era that I grew up, my dad was Archie Bunker. So he was not your typical guy that you wanted to have a great conversation with unless, he was just an Archie Bunker type. It was just his time. But yet I've always been an equal opportunity dater or friendship person. I've never looked at anybody as they're outside. I don't know where it came from, because usually whatever you see at home is, but I'm telling you, like I love people, all sorts of people, and I feel like it's taken a big 360 in the last several years. People are all of a sudden much more bigoted, much more racially charged, much more bullying mentality. I just feel like humanity is just like,
I think the pandemic probably brought a lot of that stuff forth.
Yeah, you're right, but I just think it also brought
I think
people
there's
together.
just a multitude. I agree. I think there's a multitude of factors that lead to this, and I agree with your premise that it's not a good place.
Right.
Right. It's not a healthy place. It's not really cool to get emails that say, if you really wanted to ruin Eagle County, Chris Romer should move down to the suburbs of Denver and destroy some land down there instead of doing it in Eagle County. And
Because you're responsible for all of it.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, actually.
If I wanted to ruin Eagle County, I would stay right here.
Going to Denver, go to Denver, and
going
do
to
the
Denver to ruin the land. If I wanted to ruin Eagle County,
yeah, that guy,
it doesn't tend to make a lot of sense.
Spin them around in a shower, they'll lose the soap. Forget about it.
Yeah, no,
What we're
exactly,
talking about.
exactly. It's a fun one. This one, Mr. Romer has demonstrated that he is spineless. I could amp up the VVP in 2 to 3 days on the job.
Did that person sign their name?
That person did.
I would say, come on down, show your stuff, prove it.
I invited them in to have a conversation.
Did
they,
you?
they didn't take me up on it. But,
Of course not. Oh, 'cause they think
I
they're
just
so
wanted
good.
to pick their brains on how I could improve our chamber in 2 to 3 days, because
Because you've been doing it for 23 years.
Well, 18, and we've been the National Chamber of the Year twice. And that's a pretty big deal
That
for
is
little old Eagle County
huge. It's
to have
great.
a group recognized as the #1 chamber of commerce in the country.
You guys do so much.
Talking to, and it's about our businesses, and it's about our staff, and it's about the work we do, but it's how cool for that recognition, not for us at the partnership. It's nice, but what's cool is it recognizes Eagle County as a place for business, and not just for visitors, and not just for the mountains that we're so
Right.
well known for. Being able to say, we have a Chamber of Commerce that's a 2-time National Chamber of the Year. That's pretty cool for our businesses and entrepreneurs and others to say, look, there's great things happening here
Yeah.
outside of the ski mountains and outside of the tourism industry. So it's pretty cool. So I wanted to pick his brain and just, hey, what is it that we could do
Have the
to do such a
stones,
better job in
show
2
up.
days?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the point too, is that, like all of this negative feedback, it's not constructive whatsoever. So it's not helpful. It's not moving
Right.
anything forward. It's not putting any new ideas into the ether, or
It could
not
have.
even
That
into the ether,
one could have.
under eyes that are
Yeah.
who care and can do something about it. It's just, just inflammatory and nonsense, really. So it's like garbage in, garbage out. So I hope for your mental health that you're able to separate yourself from those comments, because in my opinion, it's more of a reflection of them and their
Of
bad
course it is.
character than it is on yours at
100%.
all.
100%. Well, so thank you, and recognize that I'm still writing, still
you are.
talking with you
Yes.
guys. I'm still still doing the work.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped or slowed down any of that. So I think that yes, it's none of those notes or those kind and thoughtful emails impact me too much. It's much nicer to get the ones that say, hey, you guys are doing a great job, or the person at the grocery store who stops and says, hey, your column last week was really heartfelt, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
That stuff, I get much more of a
positive feedback.
Much more of it carries me a lot more.
Oh, good.
Than any of the negative ones ever bring me down. They really, if you're not going to sign your name, if you're not going to share,
Exactly, yeah.
if you're not going to share anything more than, a note like, you do not have any of the interests of the professional, hardworking, tax-paying citizens of your community. I will not be supporting you in the next election. For those who didn't hear, I'm not elected.
Chris Romer for anything.
But this person isn't going to vote for me, which
well, you lost that vote.
Which sucks. Except I'm not running, so it's fine. It's I think it's.
I think people are almost a little dense. I want to add one thing to this before you read your next email. The one thing that I love, because I told you I tune in every week to read these emails, but I also tune into your Sunday fights.
Yes.
Like he has Sundays are for fighting the best comedy movie ever done, and people will. I mean, you'll get hundreds and hundreds.
Oh, it's cute.
But this is my favorite part of the email day, the love letters. So many people rally and get right behind you,
Sure.
and they come at the bully with their own rare breed of real good stuff. And I love reading the comments because it's all in favor of this man right here, because I know you do great for your community, and I know you have a good head on your shoulders, and I know you don't fall prey to what people say. But if you get it enough, I mean, you hear one thing enough, it's going to affect your emotions. It's going to affect your day. I mean, well, it would affect mine. I mean, I had right here admit that I could not, I would be every single email that was sent to me. Oh, yeah. Because maybe I'm just not equipped to let it bounce off.
It's interesting. The genesis and the idea of the Sundays are for fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Sundays are for picking fights on the internet.
That's what it is.
Sundays are for picking fights on the internet. And it's a top 5 list.
It's always fun.
Of the most inane, ridiculous, silly things.
Topics.
Best cover songs ever. Best breakfast
I
cereals.
like when you do the songs though, because then I steal them and put them on the radio.
Best Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, I remember that one. Wally
Right?
Gator, and nobody knew who Wally Gator was.
And that is done very intentionally, and in my head, somewhat obviously.
Yeah.
To make fun of society.
And it's healthy,
and to
though.
make fun of this propensity to, and this willingness and desire to fight about stuff on the internet.
So dumb.
Or to send a chamber executive mean-spirited emails.
But what you do is fun and it's lighthearted.
But that's the joke within the joke.
Ah.
Because I don't care what the best cover songs are.
Right.
I don't care what the best 80 movies are.
But the answers
I mean,
are the best.
I know that The Breakfast Club and I know that Back to the Future and I know The Goonies. I mean, I know that these are some of the best movies of the 80s. But I don't really care if you prefer 16 Candles. Right?
Right.
I don't. It
About
doesn't
last night.
matter. So let's joke about it on the internet.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people.
And you can have fun fighting over stuff like
and
that.
we'll have fun fighting, and I'll call people out if they break the rules, or if I didn't set the rules clearly enough and they find
so
a
much
loophole.
fun. I get a kick
we'll
out of it.
celebrate it.
I love that.
But then I get notes, even from that,
No.
saying, why are you so divisive with your Sunday? Why do you pick fights on the internet? And why are you so divisive? I'm like, do you really care about
Tell them it's because
of the stuff? Like, these things are not, they're not meant, it is meant to be a mockery.
Yeah,
of-
it's supposed to, and if anything, it adds levity to the fact that we love to argue. People love
That's
to
it.
argue.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
And if
right.
you're going to argue over something funny, like who was the best James Bond guy,
yes,
it's fun as opposed to
Daniel Craig.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
there you
let's fight.
have it. No, mine was the first
The
one.
glow's about to come out.
So yeah, it's but again, the point being, it inherently doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You can have relatively spirited discussions without being mean-spirited, without being
Exactly.
hateful, without calling each other names. You know, you can do that.
It's
And-
real fun to see people turn your stuff into political. It could be something so. What's your favorite woodland creature? And somebody will somehow call you a rotten Democrat. What would happen? It's weird though, because I have seen that come
Of
to
course.
light in the real lighthearted thing. Somebody will just have to throw in something just dumb and political or out of nowhere for no good reason, and then everyone goes on the
and
attack.
everyone most people see that and respond appropriately.
And I love it.
Like, this isn't really the forum for that, and
Exactly. And
whatever
I
the
love
case.
that. Yeah, this is not what we're
So-
talking about here.
So
yeah.
no, it's good.
All right, what do you got some more?
Oh,
Sure. Yeah. No. Go ahead.
You go.
I was just gonna say I don't feel like this is just happening like amongst your chamber, but like you see that like with Taylor Swift and Selena and just like this has become the way we communicate like in social media. Like everybody has their opinion, everybody wants to put in their voice, and that which is fine. But they're right. There's no debating that, and that's what I feel like the problem is. Going back to your sports analogy, it's like this team mentality. It's like you're either on this team or you're not on this team. There's no in between. There's no gray area, and
so much for the umpires,
So there's people, and I know some of these people. I think it's a little bit of a wild opinion, who think Taylor Swift is a Satanist and is grooming young women to follow Satan.
Yeah.
And this is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And then there are people who are full Swifties who are, and like, so those are your end zones. Both end zones are a little much for me. Personally,
What happened to the middle of the road, man?
I think she's a tremendous business person,
That is
a
right.
tremendous entrepreneur,
Right.
who works really hard, and I don't care who she dates or who she didn't date and what she writes her fun pop songs about. She's immensely talented. She's brilliant.
Exactly.
And like,
And she's a billionaire.
These Satanist people can stay in their own little
Wow.
cave, and the full Swiftie people can admire her
She was my skirt up.
for this and that, and that's good too. Like, it's okay, right? But like, I'll recognize that she's an entrepreneur.
And
She's
that's
immensely
exactly what you
talented,
should do.
and I will shake my head at these people, and I'll say,
Shake it off.
artists have inspired this kind of thing forever and ever. Weird to put all those eggs in the basket of a comedian or an athlete or a musician or whatever, but if it helps you, good, fine,
Right.
good.
Yeah, you know who would start the biggest fights if he was still alive? George Carlin. Boy, would I love to see him in this climate of the day,
His stuff holds up over time.
It still does. No, if you look
can watch
back,
his stuff from 30, 40 years ago, and it
gives you the chills.
it still resonates.
It really does. I mean, there's nobody like that man, and so throw us another couple of these
You want
because
another
we
one?
want to we want to wrap up with some feel good emails.
Yeah, well, this one, this one again is kind of funny. I would do a handstand, a capital handstand. I would do a handstand seriously if you would just stop talking. That one's kind of good, right? So sometimes they're just fun.
Just put a microphone in your butthole and we'll.
Yeah, it's. Let's find another.
I can't believe people. I would do a handstand.
I would do a handstand seriously.
Seriously.
If you would just stop talking. I appreciate the ones with a little humor like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just weird. They're probably 80. That's probably why they said it, because you can't do a handstand when you're 80. Well, some people can, I guess.
Let's see.
What's your favorite one? Okay, no.
Ooh.
I don't want to say favorite, because that's not the right way. But which one had the most impact on you that took a minute to realize, oh my God, I can't let this get to me?
That's a good one. Boy, I don't know.
Wow, that's good.
I mean,
then nothing's hit him that hard.
No, it's I really can separate reality from emails.
But that death one really would bug me.
Yeah, that one bugged my team the most.
Yeah. Well, yeah, people that care about you, which is great, you know.
Yeah, it's, you know, so it does. I don't know what maybe I don't even remember what it was. Maybe the first one.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe the first one. And I was like,
sense.
is this part of the job? Is this normal?
Yeah.
I remember years and years ago, like calling up some of my chamber friends in different parts of the country. Like, is this normal to get this kind of stuff? And almost inevitably, they're like, no, no, that's not normal. But I'm probably out there a lot more than most are with the column and hosting a radio show for years and doing different things that I've done.
Radio show. Nobody hates on me like that.
You know, it's you're playing music.
I'm just
and
playing
stuff.
music. I'm not giving my opinion.
I'll just next time you play Coldplay, I'll send you a nasty email.
He hates Coldplay for some reason. It's really funny. It's really funny. But I am really glad that I don't have an opinion. I mean, I give my opinion on the podcast, and if anybody wanted to approach me or talk to me, I'd be like, I'll be more than happy to have a nice discussion with you. No, really. I mean, I love a good verbal discussion, you know. But if somebody threatens me, I'm not happy, and I would never take it lightly, and I would never, ever, ever let them get away with it.
Yeah,
just wouldn't.
And again, back to the idea of the theme of this podcast and adult bullying. No, it's not okay. But I'm not going to be able to solve anything by responding to them in an email.
Absolutely. I do know that.
Of course.
But there's different people. There's people
I hope I can do a tiny bit by sharing it online, by pointing out how ridiculous it is to make people think. Maybe someone saw that and said, maybe I'm not going to write that letter to the editor emotionally. Maybe I'll sleep on it and then do it. Maybe I won't just respond with road rage. Maybe I'll like sit back for a hot second and take a breath and realize that thoughtful actions are maybe a little more appropriate.
Well, breathing and counting to 3 are an actual huge deal. I learned that because like when people make me angry, I'm actually not, I'm always bubbly and everything, but I have a quick trigger. I have a quick temper. So I learned as a child to stop, nose breathe in, and count to 3 before I react. Because before I was doing that, I would just snap out on people. I was like a little Tasmanian devil, you know.
So I write one of the columns I do every single year around graduation is advice to graduates.
Oh, I love that.
So I've been doing it for years and years. So I just put the final tune to that column. It'll run in a couple weeks in the Daily and on our blog at the partnership. And one of the things I shared in this list of advice columns, which is by far my favorite column to write every single year. I just jot things down all year round and then I put it together in April or May. And one of them is when you're working with a group and in a project, always be the calm one, right? Because no one will remember for kids, for adults in a work project, in a collaborative process, no one ever remembers why you were stressed about the thing. The time, what it was. Like, you don't remember that project in college or that work project from 10 years ago. But you remember who the person was that never lost their cool. You remember who the person was that kept everyone together.
I bet.
And if you can do that, and take that count to 3, that like, all right, I want to freak out about this because this thing is due, and we're up against it, and it's going to feel really good to freak out. It's going to feel so good emotionally to freak out. And it does. I get it. But you can't do it all the time, right? So
or do it in front of anybody.
Is one of the pieces of advice to the graduates is always be the calm,
I love that,
cool, collected one. And I try to live that too. And you know, it actually, I do think that actually probably makes those people who send those notes even more upset.
Oh yeah,
because
well,
you don't react.
Sure, without
they
a
don't
doubt.
react the way that they're trying to get you to react.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to stir anyone up unnecessarily, but if it has that impact of stirring them up even more, that's just a little bit of a side outcome.
Yeah.
But the idea of, you think about any work project, any school project, anything you've had in your life when you're working with a group, and inevitably there's moments where people freak out and you want to freak out. And if you can stay calm and you can stay cool and you can stay collected and keep everyone together, focused on what it is you're trying to focus on, what a cool position to be in. And not easy,
Yep.
Yeah.
but what a cool kind of a position of power. Not power in a better than anyone, but like the power that you bring that to the group.
Yeah, to keep everybody motivated and keep everything moving forward in a good, communicative way, and everybody can get along. And well, we're coming. Believe it or not, it's been a quick hour. You are just one human. Okay, so I
Thank
just
goodness.
want, yeah, right. No, I would think it would be really fun as a twin. You'd have a lot of fun with the council. But what I'm saying is, Chris is one person. So imagine how many, whether you're famous or just anybody that people feel the need to target. Maybe take a minute and remember, because you're one person that I look every week to see what awful email you get because of the way you handle it and the way people respond to it. And I find some kind of healthy outlook in it, oddly enough. But my point is that you don't deserve to get notes like that or bullied or anything like that. And if anybody's watching, and if you have ever written a note to this man, I'm in the batter's cage. And not only that, do you have any more questions for Chris before we wrap up?
No, this has been great. Thank you so much for
course.
sharing your emails. Those are horrifying, but like I love that you've been able to turn it into something, positive, and the way your calmness, I fully agree with you that being calm in that situation makes you still come out on top, and it still makes you, in my mind, the winner. And even though I hate that, this winner, but against this attack. And, I really feel sorry for people that feel that they need to communicate in that kind of way, and that's all they have, is just, it doesn't solve anything to write that kind of email. It's not pushing any agenda forward. You're not even acknowledging that you are the person that wrote that, so you're obviously a coward. So to me, it just doesn't make sense, hiding behind these really strong words.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I'm actually taking something away from this, because I'm obviously the type of person that gets triggered quickly. And I mean, I remember one time somebody wrote me something, and all hell broke loose because I didn't handle it well. So I'm actually taking a little lesson away from today from you. So I appreciate that. Maybe other people who are easily upset by things like that, because I just don't understand people, and I'm gonna work through it, and I'm gonna breathe that nostril breath and all the other good stuff. And for a final word, do you have anything to say and I just want to promote, obviously the Vail Valley Partnership. You guys do an amazing job for everybody. You can tell people where to reach you, and if you have any piece of advice for anybody out there to be kinder to each other, you have the platform right now.
Oh boy, thank you. So anyone interested can learn more at vailvalleypartnership.com. It's got our whole staff list, and it's got everything that we do and all the programs we run. So check that out at vailvalleypartnership.com. And I think my advice, or those parting words, is that I think it's really important to remember that if it's Taylor Swift, if it's politics, if it's where you're going to go to dinner tonight, whatever the issue is that people want to fight about, or a list of 5 stupid things on the internet on Sundays. People almost always have good intent, right? People come in and you may vehemently disagree, and it's healthy to vehemently disagree. What's not healthy is to be mean-spirited and to be personal about it, right? You support this person, someone supports that person. None of that matters in the big scheme of things. Understand that they have good intent. I've come across very few people in my life that didn't fundamentally come at things from a good place. I might find it misguided, or I might align with it 100%. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They have good intent. they're welcome to do it. I'm never going to change their mind.
Right.
I'm not going to work really hard to. I'll share my views and my things, and I'll try and stay open-minded to changing my opinion when the facts change. But at the end of the day, just remember that people have good intent, and these mean-spirited emails or internet attacks or whatever, they don't do what you think they do.
Well, I hope everybody's taking away from what you just said as much as I am, and I'm sure you are too. What a healthy way to exist. Chris Romer, everybody, this is the person that really, really has, you just have an amazing outlook on the way people should be treated with kindness. We don't always agree, but it doesn't mean that we have to fight and battle each other. Be kind to each other, be grateful for each other, and just look out for each other. Thank you very much. This was the Chat Box with Chris Romer, and we hope to see you again real soon next Friday.
You're watching K34QB, Vail.